Hello, my name's Chris Athanas, and today I wanted to talk about um, what to do about the AI. Yeah, so I've been a developer for a long time, since I was about 7 years old, um, and I've seen a lot of things come and go, a lot of hype waves happening, especially lately. I came back to development after about 10 years uh, of taking a break after I sold my company. I came back as an Android developer, and I've been on a journey learning Android and mobile development. And yeah, so there's a lot of hype waves coming through. Um, and honestly, there's a lot of it's way overdone at this point. Let me go ahead and get my little slides up here ready. Um, Yeah, we're gonna. So the best thing for an independent developer, like I'm a pretty an independent developer, or at least I consider myself to be, popped around quite a bit to different startups, doing different things, um, and now I consider myself an independent developer. And AI has been a great, a boon, a major boon for me. Um, and the way I use it is I leverage it. I leverage it for what it's good for and for what where I see it going and um, let me just get my slides up here ready. And I um, don't get caught up in the hype ever. Like I'm just like I wait for things to pan out because I just know how these companies operate from the inside. They got to push the hype, and that's how it works. So these large language model type uh, AI systems, they're gonna still need a lot of humans to run these things. They're not gonna, you're not gonna get rid of the developers, but the developer role is gonna change. It's gonna have to change. And if you're not, unless you're already an AI researcher, unless you're in that field already doing that stuff, it's not. You don't want to go in that stuff. You want to use these tools. You don't want to apply them to other areas. You don't want to go in and do the stuff. It's there was a we've had these neural networks. I messed with them in the 90s, early 90s. A company I worked at, Chaos Tools, they based a lot of their stuff on neural networks at the time, and they were tiny models compared to now, but like that's the same technology. It hasn't. It's the same stuff. So how much innovation is going to go there? I mean, I think there's only so much they can do with that level of kind of thinking, and I just think the that people put a lot of promise on these machines to do a lot of thinking for us, and unfortunately, what you find out, as a if you're a normal person, if you're just working with a normal person, asking them like a business person to like define what the thing they wanted to have done is like that's a whole category itself. And I don't know if the AI, at least the way it's set up now, and how I can see it being happening, that's still never going to go away. There's going to have to be a human involved there somewhere. And the level of detail people need to tell the machine to do it, I mean, kind of the best way to do it is a higher level source code like we have kind of with these modern languages. So yeah, so if you're not already in the field, it's like no, don't go in there. It's not good. It would apply these tools to put technology somewhere else. So um let's see here. So there's a lot of these channels are clout chasing channels. Like feeding into every little nuance change and every little upgrade and stuff like that. I think these things are going to get incrementally better, but I don't think we're going to see anything outstandingly grand come through. That's going to be a different from how we're kind of using them now. With the image generation and the marketing spiels and the code completion. That stuff I think is just going to get a little bit better. But I think how we're going to interact with it is going to be very similar to how we're doing it now. And the reason I know this is because I just picked up iOS development without any tutorials, using the code completion tools, knowing what I wanted to do as a developer. I'm not an iOS developer, but I know what I wanted to do as a developer, and these tools now really facilitate that, which is really awesome. So you can like get really deep into one tech stack and then just transfer it once you know kind of how it's supposed to operate. Um, which has been really fun. So yeah, so we're the brains here. We're the brains of the operation. So, and we're the human beings in charge. So these tools are always going to be leveraged by us to create something, some solution for humans to use. Um, so that's really what I'm looking at these tools to do is how do I, now that I know one platform pretty well, like Android and web, uh, now that I kind of know the general kind of the basics of how not even more the basics. I think medium level developer in those areas on Android, definitely beginner on iOS, but like I'm got published software in the stores, so and I don't really know exactly how everything works, but I know enough to get it done. So I'm like surfing the edges of iOS development, and I've got a cross-platform apps, so it's working for me. At least these technologies are working for me. So we're the ones in charge of this thing. That's the thing to remember when using these tools, not to be all to get too worried that we're going to lose control. It's like no, we're going to still need to have humans involved quite a bit in all this stuff. At least with the things I'm thinking about using it for. Yeah, so using the AI as a personal instructor, that's really what I've been using it for. And I use ChatGPT and Copilot to basically teach me. I just do a comment and it gives me an example code, and I kind of can read it and infer what it's doing, and it knows the context of what I'm working inside of, so it kind of can see what I'm trying to do, which is awesome. It doesn't. It's like right, 50%, 40%, 50%, but enough to like give me insights about where to go and where to go look things up. So I kind of like to do a combination of Stack Overflow, the Copilot auto completes, and yeah, a lot of people don't know that you can use Android Studio and with the Copilot turned on, and you can have the Swift code inside there, and it'll actually autocomplete Swift code, so you don't have to use Xcode to do for what you can use Copilot with iOS code, which is really awesome. I don't know how many people know how to do that, but I've never seen any demos, and I'll be showing some stuff on my channel about that. But yeah, I'm allowing the AI to teach me as like a personal instructor how to do stuff and how things are done. And it's been pretty useful for that. But you got to know how things work. Yeah. So the other thing about it is like create. Thinking about using my independent developer skills to create these tools for non-technical world. Like where it was be too expensive to have a team of 6 people to create a MVP with some sort of technical solution. Now you can do it with one person, 2 people. Can actually pull off work of 7 people now. So you have a lot more avenues open. One of the projects I'm working on is this talking historical markers. As you drive by, you can listen to the markers, and it's cross-platform tool based on KMP, Kotlin multi-platform. So I've got 2 platforms right now running really amazingly well, and I just discovered that I could deploy to desktop and it does the same thing on a Mac OS. I don't know if it's another. I haven't tried Windows or any of these other platforms yet, but it definitely works on Mac. So yeah, I'm using Compose on one platform. This cross-platform tool. It's new. KMP is kind of new. KMM was a little older stuff, and they was splitting out the UI for Android native UI and iOS native UI. But now with KMP and with Compose, it's all one UI and it's all one code base. And as long as you're using the native KMM type native modules, you can go cross-platform. So I didn't know any of that stuff just a few months ago, and ChatGPT has helped me with this whole thing, putting it all together. I didn't know how this stuff worked just a few months ago. So um, yeah, so creating tools for um, non-technical people, that seems to be a thing that's going to be like with these micro SaaS. This is a new movement of like deploying things for for very small, for very niche verticals, like maybe some sort of dry cleaning specialty or a dog cleaning service. You can actually go niche down into these service sectors um, and create micro SaaS products from just 1 or 2 people, which is like pretty amazing. and that should scare a lot of these bigger companies because you we can definitely individual smaller teams can tailor their services to for more direct niches, so you can actually eat away market share from existing players because you can cut costs and uh, do something better than they're doing. It's the bar is pretty low. Let's just put it that way. But and these AI tools really magnify um, your ability to create solutions is pretty amazing. Okay, so and then the other thing is like just like not be afraid of this stuff. It's like this stuff is my whole career. It's always changed completely. Like when I first started, we weren't using card punches. That were the deck of cards that was just gone out of style. So we were using tape and using cassette tape. Believe it or not, it was like very slow to load and save programs and things like that. And then we moved up to diskettes. And then we went to diskettes were smaller. That's a little icon everybody still uses. Like, I don't see it much anymore, but for a while they were still using the diskettes. Like, okay, crazy. Yeah, so I went through that whole thing, and there's just so much hype at each stage of it, and and as it's been fascinating to see all the technology also disappear and just go into the ether. And not and we don't have physical media very much anymore, except for maybe a card here and there. um yeah, so yeah, the limits, you have to remember the limits of the AI. These are like basically just very sophisticated autocomplete, and the image generation stuff is still good, but we're gonna have to curate it. That's the thing too. It's like we're the ones in charge of like curating whether it's good or bad. I mean, a lot of this AI art is just like, that you can definitely see there's like it's very schlocky, and so the curation and the taste is gonna matter for your target audience. So that's going to be all very human. I don't know how much an AI will hit. And the other thing about it is that if we do hit a general AI, a general intelligence, um, everything will change. Everything will change at that point. And and honestly, we won't be able to control that at that point. And I have my suspicion that may have already occurred, and we're in this artificial space where we're being primed for it. That's definitely my conspiratorial brain going off on that. But in the meantime, we can use these tools to create new businesses and create new opportunity for ourselves, and to not be afraid of the future, and try to uh, leverage it for our own purposes. Yeah, so that's about it. Appreciate you all talking. I'm Chris.